All right, here we go. Hi, welcome to my currently unnamed podcast, The Ciara Show on YouTube. I have been. This is a great start. I had a YouTube channel with my other Gmail account called Kiddo Ditto Krafts a couple years ago. It was very fun. I did about 10 episodes and then I lost interest, as one does. But a lot has changed since then. My husband and I bought a house and we had a baby. So, big changes. And I am still knitting a ton. I've started spinning, still sewing, and still painting. So I've got lots of things to share, and I want to talk about more than just knitting. So, yeah. I've gotten back into, I kind of come in and out of YouTube knitting podcast world. And actually, James and Watts's show inspired me to start mine back up because I just love how he just does whatever he wants, talks about whatever he wants unapologetically, and I also think he's hilarious. So I'm not going to pretend to be as interesting or funny as he is, but if you need someone else to listen to while you work on your projects, I'm here for you. I also have a weekly vlog for my email newsletter, and those have started to get a little rambly and long, and I feel like I need an outlet where I can just talk for an hour or as long as the baby sleeps. So yeah, if this ends abruptly, that's why. Another thing I've gotten into since my last YouTube podcast episode is tarot. All the woo shit that goes with it. So I wanted to pull a card for us. This is one of my favorite decks. This is Tilly Walden's Cosmic Slumber Tarot. I'm not going to shuffle or anything. I pull cards every day. I didn't yesterday or today. It's a weekend and sometimes time gets away from me. But let's see. So I'm just going to do a cut the deck and then decide from there. I think I have my card. Okay, let's see what we got. The morning. This is our card for the day. Let me see. I think the morning is specific to Tilly Walden, Cosmic Slumber. I haven't pulled this one yet. Let's see what the book says. Oh, if I can find it. This is such interesting content, I know. Fast paced over here. My husband has a podcast. They pride themselves on being very low effort. It's called Fly By Films if you're interested in movies. Would recommend. Oh, I remember where these ones are. They're in the very back, I think. Or not. Pulled a card that doesn't, gonna go through every page of this book to find it because it is hidden somewhere secret. Anyway, my husband's podcast is called Flyby Films. Would recommend. It's audio. They pride themselves on being low effort, and this is also going to be a low effort endeavor, which means no editing, which means you have to sit through me trying to find this card that... There it is. Very back. Bonus cards. Okay, the morning. The morning greets you with dim light. This card reflects the chance to start over, the chance to rise into the day a little bit stronger than yesterday. Use the energy of the morning for beginnings, a new project, a new conversation, a new feeling. Here we are, starting a new project, and this is why I love tarot. New beginning. Yeah, I have no idea, obviously, when you were listening to this. I tend to watch my podcast. Almost dropped the deck. That would have not boded well. I tend to watch my podcast in the evening, but I am recording this in the morning. Yeah. And yeah, I think that was worth it. Okay. So let's start with knitting. We'll talk about my current whips, aka works in progress. Since this is going to be a multi-craft-jewel podcast and a intersectional craft-jewel podcast, I will do my best to explain terms as I come across them. But Google is your friend, too, if I ever say anything that is completely enigmatic. So this is for my son, Hazel. This is the Twiggy pullover. It's raglan shaping. The yarn is, I think, bamboo or a bamboo blend. I got it to make him a blanket before we found out what he was going to be, boy or girl. And then I abandoned that project because baby blankets are boring to make, in my opinion. I bought this one for what did I buy this one for? Oh, I remember. I bought this one for a really cool baby blanket project, but I started it during my first trimester and I just felt low-grade nausea for a month, and I started this project during that time, and every time I picked it up past that, I felt sick, so I abandoned it. I ripped it out. I was like, that's not happening. It is a really cool... it's by Lavanya Petricella, I think is how you say her name. Don't remember what the blanket is called, but it was really cool. I'll link to my Ravelry, and if you want to go through thousands of favorites, you might be able to find it, of my favorites. Anyway, this is the Twiggy pullover. It has some cable detailing in the body, under the arms, and then at the end of the arms. I'm not sure if I'm gonna... Oh, by the way, I got a fresh tattoo a couple days ago. This is by my sister-in-law. She is Baby Ghoul Tattoo on Instagram. It's a pink tiger, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. And it looks great right now because it's in that sweet spot where it's fresh and not all peely and gross and like extra bright because it's so fresh. So anyway, maybe I'll give you guys a tour of my tattoos on a future episode. Cute little detailing. It's kind of slow going. Cabling isn't my favorite. But anyway, this is a 1 to 2 year size, and I'm planning on making the body and sleeves long so that he can fit it not only this coming winter, he will be turning 1, but also the following winter. So, and he is a giant boy, so hopefully I can get 2 seasons out of that. So that's one project for Hazel. It's been awesome to have a baby to knit for because one of my goals this year is to use up my entire stash. And I'm doing pretty good. I'm down to, I'm looking at it, just over a dozen skeins it looks like, or like colorways. So that's actually really good. I I have this, I'm looking at this old, it's an antique secretary's desk. It was like my great grandma's or something. And it has like two side cabinets that both used to be full. They're probably 3 feet tall, these cabinets. Just, and like a foot wide, just, and a foot deep, stuffed with yarn. And now I'm down to, I could fit it all in one little cubby. So, pretty proud of myself there. And baby knits have helped to shrink the stash. And then this project, this is a sleeve. I am making the scrappy, I think it's called the Scrappy Sweater by, oh, I don't even know what Twiggy is by. Let me just pull up my patterns here so I can give you some actual information. So the Scrappy Stripe sweater is by Mona K. And then the Twiggy pullover is by Rachel Knits. Rachel Kleinhans. Rachy is Rachy Knits. Rachy Knits. And then, yeah, Scrappy Stripe by Mona K. So Scrappy Stripe is puff sleeve, stash buster. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm making good progress here. Puff sleeve sweater, where you just use up your scraps. And it calls for DK weight. I'm using my worsted weight. There's some DK thrown in here. But I'm just using the same needles and counts. It's also only one size. She's not a professional designer. She just wanted to share a project that she had made for herself to stash bust. And I fortunately am a pretty average sized human, so I haven't had to make any adjustments so far. But it's also got a lot of positive ease in the design anyway, so it should fit fine. But yeah, these are the scraps that I had left over that I thought went nice together. I'm starting another pink stripe here. Yeah, it's been a fun project. Because it's basically just stockinette, and I get to pick the stripes every few rows and pick the colors, I mean. So I'm going to do another sister sleeve when this one's done, and then I'm going to have to go to my local yarn store and buy a few skeins of, I'm thinking it's like a cream in the original pattern design. And I like that, but I think I might want to do like a tweed, a gray tweed, or an oatmeal-y tweed. We'll see. I'll bring the sleeves in and pick something out. So that's another work in progress. I have a sock on the go at all times. Got some cold coffee here. Yeah, I have a sock on the go at all times, and I might show you at some point. I'm using hobby yarn with Stellina Christmas self-striping. It's not very exciting to me. It's probably, content is content, but it's over in my knitting chair, by my knitting chair, and I'm not going to go get it. That is just a project that I work on if I'm like too tired to move on to the next step of the pattern I'm working on, or if I'm out and about and my projects are too cumbersome to bring with me, that's when I grab the sock. I have a ton of socks. I have enough socks. But I like to have a sock project on the go because they're portable and easy, and yeah. And then, so those are my two whips. I tend to be a fairly monogamous knitter. I don't like to have a lot of loose ends in my world. So I like to see a project through and then move on to the next one, which is another reason why I'm reducing my stash, because I don't like having things that don't, like, yes, they look pretty, but I don't want them to just take up space, which they were taking up. If they were starting to feel like a burden to me. I do have a tendency to hoard as an artist. I think most artists and crafts people tend to hoard somewhat. But I also like and am drawn to minimalism, so I am constantly at odds. I tend to like go through and like purge everything and then regret getting rid of things. So I've like calmed down on that cycle in my life, but I do think it's useful to go through and like get rid of stuff that you're not really using. Anyway, or use what you have. That's really what it is using what I have instead of just buying more stuff. I'm trying also to just be a better consumer. This thing I keep flashing, this is I want to share because I have tons of knitting projects that I've finished in the 3 years I've been knitting. 4 years. Yeah, 4 years I've been knitting. Tons of projects to show. So each episode I want to share one of those projects. So this is a Stephen West shawl. This is my first Stephen West shawl. I've made 2 Stephen West sweaters before and a hat. I'm not much of a shawl person. It doesn't really get cold enough. I live in Chico, California, which is like middle north state of California, and we're in the throes of summer and it's fucking hot and I hate it. And it makes me want to move to Alaska, but where I can wear my knits all year round and things like schlankets, aka shawl blankets. So this is just a ginormous, this is called Garter Abyss because it's literally garter stitch forever. It's a gorgeous shawl. There it is. It looks like I have a crop top on, I swear. It's meant to be a fade. So I had some yarn, like I feel like the fade worked really well here and then got a little crazy, but that's okay. I also don't know which way is the front. I think I have the front out. It doesn't super matter because it's garter stitch. Anyway, I love these colors. These are some of my absolute favorite colors. Favorite color combo, purple and gold. I love it. It just feels very like luxurious to me. And pink, of course. I've been in a very pink mood with my little pink tiger over here. But yeah, it's giant. It had an I-cord bind off, which took several sessions and was a labor of love, but I'm glad I did it because it's a nice finish. I think past me would have just bound off normally, but current me is more willing to put in the work to do something that I really like and am willing to wear. Because I have a ton of projects now that just languish and, aren't really serving a purpose. I should probably go through my knitwear and rehome some things. But anyway, I didn't really get a chance to wear this because I was finishing it after my son was born. He was born in November, so he's 7 months old. Yeah, I actually brought it to the hospital thinking I would knit it after, like, literally the day after he was born, or the day of him being born. Those of you who are pregnant with your first, don't bring anything to do. Just rest. Like, you won't be... Maybe you're an exception. I thought I would be the exception. Nah, you're not. No. Don't waste the space because also trying to, like, you go to the hospital with your bags and stuff. We'd had a scheduled C-section. But then you leave with like 1 billion times more stuff plus a baby that you're like freaking out about because it's brand new and you don't know what you're doing. And we had to make several trips to the car with all of like the extra stuff that people brought us, and then all of our luggage and my knitting projects because I thought I was gonna knit. Anyway, I don't know why I thought I would get this done, but I did end up getting it done, sitting around during maternity leave. And it was the perfect project because it's literally just garter stitch, and I could just sit there and knit for miles while my brain was recovering from the major shift in my reality I was experiencing. But anyway, this is the Garter Abyss. It's the perfect project for certain circumstances, and maternity leave was one of them. So I love Stephen West patterns. They're super fun. They're always extravagant and huge and well written, and yeah. And it was a great way to use up a bunch of yarn. So I definitely made mine. I think I used more yarn, less yarn. I don't know. Oh, I did run out of this dark purple and went back to the light color that I started the shawl with. But you can't even tell because of how I don't even know where there. Because it's such a giant shawl, you don't notice where that like switch happens. Anyway, so that's a past project. Oh, I wanted to share needle adjacent projects, which are just projects that I have like lined up. And oh, I should also mention I have a crochet blanket that I've been working on for a couple of years now. That Granny Stripes scrap blanket that I'm using up fingering weight yarn scraps for. So I do have like two big, like 10, I don't know what, 10 unit of measure. I don't know what the unit of measure is, but they're big, like gallon. They're a gallon, not 10 gallons. A gallon jar, like mason jar, full of, I've got two full of fingering weight scraps. And they're not, it's mostly just like partially used skeins. Most of them, or a lot of them, are like over half a skein left because I don't use that much yarn for my socks apparently. I always end up with over half a skein remaining, which is annoying. So I've been using that up for the Granny Stripes scrap blanket. But the Granny Stripes scrap blanket is boring, so I don't pull it out very often. Cleaning up my queue. So come here, William Blake. Come here. Hop up. There, you can see his tail. Here's my cat on my lap, as usual. But I think I want to do, well, there's a couple of things I want to do. This one's cute, but I don't think I have, well, we'll see, enough scraps. This is the Mini Cat Square. It's crochet. Excuse me. It's super, super cute. And it would be a great way to use up my little scraps, my, actual scraps. We'll see after I finish this scrappy stripe sweater how much. Don't lick my arm. Oh my god. Get down, cat. Get down. Get down. Jeez. That might be a fun way to use up some remaining yarn. What's that by? That's by Pony McTate. And then Julia Reichart. These little sock monsters, they're called, because they use sock yarn, aka fingering weight yarn. That would be a super fun project to make some little critters for Hazel. I've made him 2 cat dolls that look like our cats, which are really cute. He's not super into stuffies right now, but that would be fun. And then, but what I think I actually will probably start next is the Sea Glass sweater by Wool and Pine. Pick a good picture here. It is a really basic colorwork sweater using scrap fingering weight yarn. So each row is a different color 2 different colors because it's just 1 by 1 color work. But a great way to use up a lot of scraps. And then it like creates a nice finished effect where it seems like you can almost pick whatever the heck you want to knit with next, like as long as there's enough contrast. Let me show you. So another thing I've been working on, which is another way to use up scraps, is kumihimo. So kumihimo braiding. I learned how to do this. I joined my local fiber guild because I'm a nerd like that. And they had a booth at an arts festival in town, and they were giving away free kumihimo kits. My first one is in the other room, but anyway, these are scrap yarn braids that I had. This one's really long, but you can pick any colors, and then it will create a nice effect. It will look nice. Here, let me see if I can. I think that works. No, it's blurry. This is every knitting YouTube ever. Get away from my face. There we go. But yeah, it looks totally fine. It doesn't matter what colors you pick. So this is what I'm guessing the sea glass is going to turn out as. Like, it doesn't really matter what colors you pick. It does look like solids and tonals probably would work better. I have a lot of speckled and like crazy color yarn. But hopefully it'll work. I just need something to use up my scraps because I'm tired of having so much yarn everywhere. I really want to be able to work on or like just pick yarn for the project. And I know that I'm going to end up with scraps again, which is okay. My Fiber Guild does have a yarn garage, which is one way to solve this problem, where you just like donate. You can go in and like take a skein, leave a skein, partial skein, which is a super fun way to like share extra yarn that you may have. Goodwill also, I've been known to donate yarn. Not my like indie dyed fancy stuff generally, unless I have less than half a skein left. I have done a couple of those, but yeah, it's always the question what to do with the remaining yarn. And then I also have a jar of minis up there that I can see, which that looks kind of cool, just to have little piles of yarn. Anyway, sustenance. So, spinning. That's the other fiber thing I wanted to share. I would love to know how you feel about your scraps, what you do with your scraps, if you save every bit and bob. I tend to save like longer ends in like a little baggie for moving things onto scrap yarn, like sleeves and things. And then I'm always trying to find scrappy projects that I'm actually going to want to use, or rather than just making stuff to use it up, although I have been known to do that. And fortunately, this is a common problem, and so there are solutions out there. There are patterns out there. Stephen West, in particular, has tons of patterns specifically to use up scraps. But yeah. So spinning, I'm a very new spinner. Tour de Fleece is happening right now as we speak. Tour de Fleece runs concurrently with the Tour de France, and it's just a personal spinning challenge. So you set your own, you join teams, and you all try to spin as much, whatever your yardage goal is or meterage goal. But my goal was just to get back into spinning because I learned how to spin last summer, and then I put it down and never picked it back up until yesterday, which was July 1st. So it's not the most beautiful yarn. I'm trying to figure out, I feel like I spin it too tightly and it gets all like kinked up. But I'm also just brand new, so anyway, I have applied bunch in this same fiber, which I think is just a merino yarn. But yeah, I'm about ready to ply up another bunch. So, and this is a pretty generic drop spindle. The little hook has already popped out once. I'm pretty like aggressive. I think I need to lighten up on everything. But my entire spinning process, it's okay. I'll figure it out. I did order an electric eel nano for myself, which is a tabletop spinning wheel, and then the nano is a mini version of the electric eel. It's an electric spinning wheel, I should say. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. Spinning wheels are beautiful, but I have no desire to have a spinning wheel in my house. I don't have space. I don't want to make space for a spinning wheel. But I can do a little tabletop electric wheel. So, and I think I'm really going to like that because I like things to go fast, and drop spindling, particularly on this drop spindle, has been frustrating this last most recent go round. So yeah, I think I'm hopefully going to get some more consistent yarn from it and be able to move a little quicker because I've got a ton of this fiber left. So that's living in my You Crafty Bitch bag. I didn't tell you about my project bags. The Twiggy is living in this bag, which is white cats knitting with pink yarn on navy blue background bag. One of the cats has glasses. So cute. I made this bag. I made myself a skirt out of this fabric. I made myself another project bag out of this fabric, like a taller one with some, what's it called? Interfacing? Yeah. So it has a little more structure to it. That one I used for, I can fit like a short sleeve sweater project in that one. This is a baby sweater. Fits in there. And then I like to put my sweater projects in this big bag. This is a blue Q bag. There's William Blake on the bottom. He's all over it, actually. William Blake is my dumb black cat who is currently at my feet. And the You Crafty Bitch bag is also a blue Q bag. I really like these for my projects. I usually put like shawls in here, and then this is my spinning bag currently. But this for sweaters is my favorite because it's huge, and for color work it's really easy because you can get multiple things going. Anyway, let's see, talked about needle adjacent, talked about kumihimo, talked about spinning. Let's stick with the fiber crafts, the textile crafts. Sewing adjacent projects. Oh, I'm going to grab another bundle of fabric here. So, my cousin is having a baby girl soon, in like a month, I think is her due date. And I made myself a dress out of this fabric. It is stretchy, it is so cute. It is orange and pink cheetahs with pink and purple rainbows and pink and purple flowers. And I love this dress, and I can't wear it because I'm nursing right now. But soon, in a year plus, but soon, I will get to wear it again. But I have enough left over to make a little baby dress. So I think I'm going to make a baby dress for she'll be my second cousin. And then last year, I thought, while the baby's sleeping, I'll make matching pajama sets for all of us. Again, unrealistic expectations for my early postpartum days. But I have fabric. I have tons of flannel fabric to make full pajama sets for myself, my husband, and my son. I'm going to start with pajama bottoms for all three of us, and then if I am feeling really ambitious, I will see about making button-up pajama tops. But this is a ton of flannel for what will be very comfy matching PJs for the three of us. And I need to start on that project sooner rather than later if I want to have it for the month of December. And then to wear on Christmas Day together. And then I'm most likely going to have tons left over, because let's be real, I'm not going to make us button-up pajama tops. It's just not going to happen, because we're only going to wear it for pictures on Christmas morning, and then we're all going to be too warm or uncomfortable in our button-up pajama tops. But flannel PJ bottoms are always cozy. And I know that I can convince Jamie and Hazel both to wear pajama bottoms. So that's that sewing project. I made a little hand quilt. It's very small. I don't know if that gives you any sense of perspective. It's like a foot away from it. It is a hand quilt. It's like this big. That was fun. Amanda Nadig, I think is her last name. I took a class from her on the Making app. Would recommend checking out the Making app. It's an awesome. It's like all the best parts of Instagram just for crafts. I don't think there's video, but that's fine with me. It's like what we all want Instagram to go back to. So that was fun. I would love to do more hand quilting. I would love to learn how to quilt and make a quilt someday. Maybe. We shall see. Probably not in the next couple of years, because baby life. But hand quilting is well within reason. So let's move on to some art stuff. Hi, William Blake. Shall we move on to some art stuff? What do you think? I'm looking at the camera to look at what's behind me. So I have a bunch of dog portraits going. I am currently working on a series here. There they are with my little twinkle lights up there. I'm currently working on a series, calling it Best in Breed, of a bunch of dogs. And I will be doing some cats as well. Stop biting me. Oh my God. William Blake is the worst. Dogs and cats. I am partnering with a local boutique pet store called Trailblazer Pet Supply here in Chico. I'm going to have the work up there, the paintings. They've got a few locations, so I'll be dropping off the first 6 this coming Friday, and then I've got 2 more to finish by then. I can get it done. Just need to do it. Should probably work on it a little bit today. I have time. Note to self. Anyway, what was I saying? So that will be the permanent home of the paintings. They will be for sale. Prints will be available. These are 10 by 10 inch. So that's right next to my head, how big they are. This is a pet portrait size I offer as well. I also have a 6 by 6. I don't think I have. Oh, I do have 6 by 6. So that's the size difference. This one's 200. This one's 300. Maybe I should adjust that price because this seems so much bigger. But anyway, 300. Good deal. Very good deal. Go get yourself a 10 by 10 for only $300. Yeah. So I do, this one's in progress. This is a golden doodle. So I do custom pet portraits. And then I'm working on this breed portrait series. So there's that little guy. That's the thing I'm working on. I also just finished, this is another pet portrait version of pet portraits that I offer, another style. This is Buddy the cat. This is Alex from the Serenity Knitting podcasts. This is her cat. I don't know how that sentence structure works, but anyway. You see I've got some pink yarn up in there for her and some pink Australian wildflowers because she's from Australia. So this is her beloved Buddy, who is gorgeous and who makes an appearance on her podcast. So Buddy and William Blake, podcast buds, podcast kitties. I have another cat too, but she never comes to visit me. Unlike William Blake, who is always around, although I don't see him currently. Anyway, this size and style also starts at 200, and then I have an 8 by 10, which is about like that, which I think is 300. And then I also have 1 and 2 pet options for this style, which is like a tattoo style, the little banner and everything. So yeah, so this is on paper, those are on canvas. So those are some pet portraits. Been talking for 40 minutes now. My mouth is getting dry. I'm also a abstract painter / collage artist. This is one that's in progress. This is from a National Geographic of a little girl and her little lamb, which I think is super sweet. And so what I do with my abstracts is I generally start with just like a big swipe of color. It's usually paint from my palette from the last painting or from a pet portrait painting. Like I made too much pink for that Bichon, so there's a lot of pink in here. And then I made too much of this background, so there's a lot of that background in here. And I just, slop the paint around, and then I let that dry. And then I come back in with Posca pens, and I used a comb in here too. You can see these white lines back here. That's just from the comb on the wet paint. There's crayon in here. There's charcoal pencil. There's, you want to hop back up? No? Okay. Oh my God, that cat. Yeah. Lots of different materials. I like to use palette knives and silicone brushes and regular brushes. Yeah. So this is pieces in progress. This one back here, that's on board. This is on paper. Whoa, it's on paper. I'm almost done with my paper blocks, and then I've got some canvases I'm going to start. So this piece back here actually, a couple of years ago, I had like an afternoon where I just got a wild hair and wanted to make a bunch of abstract paintings, and I still have a lot of those canvas boards and then this random wood block. And I dug out this one and then put the big like dark teal box under that right here, words, Words are hard. And then went from there, added this little guy. And there's a lot of little details in there. I'll have a link to my... You want to hop back up? Third time in 45 minutes. Say hi to the people. Hello, people. Here's my cute cat. Yes. He's so dumb. Anyway, yeah, I just went from there. So that piece spans several years from start to finish. It's called My Own Private Ley Line, because of that nature of, you know, the way it has been a journey, and it's always kind of been the abstract painting has been a very intuitive process, and yeah, so like ley lines and all that kind of felt like the right name for that piece. Yeah, I have a bunch of other artwork. I can give you a flip through of my sketchbook, a few pages of that. William Blake, you're so in the way. So, again, just starting with, I don't even know where this one started, but I think this is mostly Poscas. Oh, I remember what this one. So, I went to Michael's and got a couple of different colors of Poscas and a couple different colors of Tombow pens and wanted to try them out. So that's where this one started. And then these were done on my coast trip with my family. I packed a little travel watercolor kit and a few colors of Poscas and some crayons and things. And then this is also from vacation, this page. This was inspired by one of the tiles in the shower had some pink in it, and I was like, oh, that's cool, so gray and pink. And then this one, Tombows and paint. And these two, there's some collage. Little guy from National Geographic. I scored a stack of like National Geographics from the 70s, which has been awesome to go through. So I really like this little guy. And then this random sketchbook page. So yeah, my sketchbook practice is something that I would like to continue to foster. Oh, and here's more of those leftover colors again. The Bichon up there and the doodle down here. So this is a perfect example of how I start. And then it turns into these. And it's just building and making decisions as I go. This one actually started with all these hearts. You can still see them back there in a pattern. And I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. So I just threw some paint over the top and then loved it. And then this little fisherman guy needed to hang on to that blue blob for dear life. So that's that. I think that's all of the crafty bits I had to share. Excuse me. I'm tired. Babies are tiring. Also, life is tiring. I need to finish my cold coffee and start another pot. I'm very impressed that my son is still asleep. We're 50 minutes in now. He's been asleep for over an hour, I think. I don't know, I have it written down somewhere. I'm a little bit psychotic about keeping track of his naps. I've been color coding a timetable for months now at this point with his awake and sleep times and tracking his feedings, and it makes me feel better. So I can say exactly, oh, look, he is, usually awake during these hours, which is actually really helpful for planning, and it's wonderful that he is starting to show some kind of pattern to his craziness. He's a very easy baby. We lucked out for sure. But knowing kind of what to expect is really nice. So, yeah. And hooray that he let me talk for 50 minutes plus, because once I put him down, I like gathered all my things and went to the bathroom and got my coffee and, you know, did all the prep stuff. So yeah, and my cat is currently kneading my bare leg, so that's nice. Yeah, so if you've made it this far, yay. You are oh gross. William Blake. So nasty. He's a disgusting cat. He's so gross. Yeah, you're nasty. I don't like to let him knead me. This is TMI for sure. Because he leaks his butt juices. It's so gross. Cats are disgusting, you guys. Sometimes I'm like, why do we have wild animals in our house? Anyway, at least it was on skin that is easy to clean up and not on my clothes, which would require me to change. Yeah. Sorry about that. What was I saying before I got distracted by my cat's disgustingness? I think I was going to say I'm not sure how often I will be on. I'm going to aim for once a month because that feels realistic as far as time commitment and also having enough to show you project-wise, especially knitting project-wise, because my knitting has slowed down significantly since the boy, which is totally fine. I'm much more choosy about what I choose to, like, what I spend my time on knitting-wise now, which I also think is, like, why I decided to finish the I-cord, because I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I want it to be nice and not just move on to the next thing, which, again, is another reason why I want to reduce my stash so I don't feel pressure to, like, get through the stash. But anyway, now I'm just rehashing beginning of the episode thoughts. So, what do you think, William Blake? Is it time to call it? Yeah. Mr. Lovey Blinks. Yeah. You were so gross. Yes, you are. Okay. I'm out of things to say, and I'm going to hopefully get a few more moments of baby nap to do some other things, like make some food and make another pot of coffee. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. If you did make it this far, please do leave a comment so that I can applaud you. And if you did make it this far, then subscribe also, because I hope to continue the rambling as often as I can, which translates to about once a month. Yeah, so thanks for being here, and I will catch you next time. Bye!